What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Pitts from Pitts and Push Sports Talk Radio, Pitt Sports Zone, Bowie TV, coming to you live from the car. Today is the mobile version. But no matter what happens, we still going to keep it going. No matter the background, the scenery is going to take place. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing well, Pitch. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right, man. I can't complain. On the way home, to grandma's headstone was laid down, so making that journey back home today, but it's a blessing to always have a conversation with you, man.
Yeah, man. I tell you right now, this weather is miserable, Pitch. Just give you the heads up. It's that Pittsburgh slow, misty rain that you just don't like. It's dark outside. You know how it is. Once you get here, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, I appreciate the heads up because my weather watchers back home didn't give me that, Mom. But but nah, man, I appreciate it. Before we start, I wanted to do something a little different this morning. I know you're on the bye this week, and normally today's our execution Saturdays. But I just wanted to speak a message. And before I speak that message, I have notated Reverend Coach Clark's book in the description. So wherever you get your e-reads from, whether it's Kindle, whether it's Amazon, whatever bookstore, you download your ebooks. I read the title on the Ascension, How to Become a Better Man, Father, and Husband. But in midst of notating Coach's book, I want to send a message to a lot of fellas, brothers, men. I think it's time that we take ownership in the direction of our young men. Even if you're not a father, as Coach says often, he's not a father, but he's a father figure. He has an imprint in the direction and the impact of the lives of all the young men he come across. And that impact is greatly received. And you always want to make sure you put your good foot forward when it comes to the impact that you have and the direction that you're trying to steer young men. We have to hold our young men more accountable. We have to make them take ownership, and we have to help them acknowledge and see what it is that is taking place. We have too much, good value in men out here that, we're losing daily. And this message isn't coming because something happened. It was just something that was on my heart that, all of us have a part to play, regardless if they're related to us or not. And it was just more spurned on me, Coach, by, something that you said again last segment on Thursday was that, you may not have children of your own, but you are a father figure. And I think that's important for anyone to know that when you're in the midst of other children, regardless if that's not your child, you are fatherly to them. You are giving them advice. You are giving them direction. So be intentional with the direction and advice that you give them.
There's no doubt about it. And, you spoke about my book, Ascension, A Coach's Guide to Becoming a Better Man, Husband, and Father. When you speak about that, that's what we're talking about in the book. It's about young men coming to love themselves and understand the importance of their body being a temple and their body being precious, and understanding that, like you said, be intentional on what you say to young men when you're talking to them. Don't just give them advice and think it goes in one ear and out the other. Make sure you're giving the quality advice that they need in order to become a better man, husband, and father, not just advice to, hey, man, go do this, or what happened on this, and why'd you do that? Don't make excuses for them. Make sure that we're intentional in what we say to them because it's important.
So, yes, I wanted to start off with that. It was just on my heart, man, just something, because I take great ownership. I enjoy talking to a lot of young people, whether they're my children or not. I enjoy spending time with the youth because I feel that everyone, and at any given moment, I can be a blessing, whether it's just a listening ear or encouragement or whatever it may be. But I take great pride in being able to be around the young men of today. And I thank you for all that you've poured into me.
I appreciate it. No, there's no doubt. And we should all take pride. And like I told you, like I said before, I'm not a father, but I understand the role that I have as a father figure. And I do take great pride in giving young men the advice I think they need. Not that they want, advice that they need and helping them understand it's not about what you want, it's about what you need. It's going to steer you in the right direction of becoming a better man, husband, and father. So, no, I appreciate you. It's like I said, this is therapeutic for me. So I appreciate you as much as you appreciate me.
So, Coach, I know it's the bye week, and typically, like I said, today will be execution Saturdays. But wanted to kind of focus on some things for you as a coach. Can you talk about the adversity that you may go through as a coach that others may not see, understand, or or unaware of?
Well, the biggest adversity, I tell everybody, I had a team meeting one day, and I asked the guys, I said, guys, what do you think is the biggest job or the biggest obstacle of the head coach? And they say this, they say that. I said, no, guys, what it is, and I think Phil Jackson's probably has the blueprint on this. What it is dealing with all the different backgrounds, dealing with all the different characters, dealing with all the different personalities that these guys have. And you're not just dealing with young men. You're not just dealing with the players. I'm also dealing with the coaches' personalities. I'm also dealing with the trainers' personalities. I'm also dealing with the equipment managers' personality. I'm also dealing with the strength and conditioning coach. You got a bunch of personalities that you're trying to get to come together and understand that you can't treat this guy like you treat this guy. We talk about being fair, not equal. It's the same thing when it comes to coaches. I mean, some coaches do things different. You may have one coach who is just going off, snapping, constantly going off on guys because that's how he coaches, but it may not work for the guys he's working with. So you got to pull him in and say, hey, man, you got to channel your personality this way. So the biggest adversity for me, man, is dealing with every personality and dealing with all the situations that come. You know, some of the things that happen that people don't know about, you may be sitting in your office one day and somebody may walk in and say, hey, coach, the guy just threw his dog against the wall. So now you got Peter on campus, and now you got people calling you. Now you got to talk to a young man. Okay, what happened with the dog? That's just a scenario that you're going through each and every day. That's something that may happen. I'm not saying that happened. I don't want anybody to freak out. I'm not saying that happened, but that's something that you may have to deal with that has nothing to do with football. And you're constantly dealing with these guys on a daily basis. Hey, coach, he missed 5 classes this week. Or, hey, coach, he missed 2 study halls this week. Or, he didn't get all the study hall hours. All those things you're dealing with on a regular basis. Because at a smaller school, now at the big boys, they don't worry about these kind of small things because
Right.
people in place for it. But here at Robert Morris University, I want to make sure I'm staying on top of my guys' grades. Like, prime example, next Wednesday, something that most head coaches wouldn't deal with, but I deal with it. Next Wednesday, we get midterm grades. So after I get midterm grades, I'm going to meet with each and every guy on this team. And if he's doing great midterm, hey, man, continue the good work, continue to bust your behind, continue to push yourself. Let's finish up strong. But if he's not, you got to, hey, man, look here. Make sure you're not patting him on the butt. He's crapping you in hand, crapping in your hand, and make sure you understand you got to get your grades up. You got to pick this up. This is not a joke. If you don't get your grades up, you won't be on the field. So you're dealing with those things. So next Wednesday, that's something I got to deal with. So dealing with those things, not just football things, but also dealing with adversity off the field is also a big thing when it comes to being a head coach.
How do your players and coaches receive? What is the reception that you receive? Have you ever experienced someone who did not receive that constructive criticism well?
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. Not with coaches too much. Not so much with coaches. The coaches kind of understand it's a profession, so it's not a big deal. But with the young men, when you're dealing with that many young men, there's going to be one that just doesn't understand. There's always going to be. It's like the young man I told you the other day when he wanted to play, but he didn't know the play. He don't know the plays. So you receive a little bit of adversity, but after you show him that, okay, you're not doing what you need to do to put yourself in a position to do the things that you want to do. So now he understands. So of course you deal with it, and you sit him down, you talk to him. But somebody that prepared me for that was my mom and my dad. When I was younger, my mom and dad used to constantly tell me, "Oh, we don't have a problem with you getting your point across. You can speak with us and get your point across, but don't let it get disrespectful." And so when I was growing up as a kid, prime example, I remember my mom wanted me to go to summer school. I think I was in the 5th grade. Like, Mom, I just passed all my classes. I don't want to go. Why did I need to go to summer school? And I started getting loud. I'm like, hey, mind your tone, bring your voice down, get your point across, but understand who you're talking to. So it's the same thing when you speak with these young men. I want them to get their point across. I want them to understand. I want them to be able to understand what I'm telling them and what they're going to tell me. But at the same time, it's never going to get disrespectful.
Right.
Understand, we'll get your point across, we'll get my point across. But at the end of the day, we're going to do what's best for the team. We're not going to do what's best for you. And so they understand, of course, you get those things.
During this time, I know we talked about you watching a lot of the film of your games prior to this year or whatnot. Do you take a break and do you just become a fan or watch other football games, and during this time as well? So I know you every day is still a task for you as a head coach, even though
Mhm.
the players are on spring break. I mean, not on spring break, on a
Bye.
bye. You're not necessarily on a bye.
Oh no, I'm on the bye. I'm relaxing
Oh,
today. The day pitch, I'm gonna do nothing. I'm gonna sit. I'm gonna watch some football games. I'm gonna try to watch them as, like you said, just as a fan. I'm gonna try not to watch them as a coach. I'm like, why are they running this coverage? What are they doing? Don't. It's third and long. Why are you trying that play? And why you? So I want to sit down and watch it as a fan, but that's kind of tough at times. But no, today, because all week long, that's what we did. Our priority, and talk about a while. Our priority this week was making sure we got back on top of stuff. We had a great day of practice yesterday morning. We went out to practice at 6 o'clock in the morning. It was raining. It was cold. My guys had a great day of practice. They got through it. They worked their butts off, and we got some things accomplished. So that was real exciting to see them get out there and work that early in the morning and get some things done. But
right.
today, I'm sitting in front of the television. I'm gonna get me some wings. I'm gonna relax, get me some blue cheese, and I'm gonna enjoy my day. I'm gonna enjoy my day off. Because again, and I know, come tomorrow, we're right back to our opponent next week, which is Tennessee Tech.
And how much preparation does it give you an advantage during a bye week when you have an opponent as such as Tennessee Tech? Are you spending more time evaluating them during the bye, more so the things that you've done throughout the season?
We have more time to study them as coaches, but we're not necessarily getting our players ready for that game as coaches because we're trying to make sure that, one, we're trying to heal. Our biggest thing right now, how many injuries we got, so we're trying to make sure our guys come back healthy, gets those guys back healthy that we feel like we're going to need later on for the last 4 games that we have. But the other thing that's extremely important is making sure our fundamentals, our technique is where it needs to be at. We want to make sure our run fits are still there. So we worked a lot of fundamental work this week. We worked a lot of individual. A lot of coaches broke things down. Our offensive line got on that sled and they pushed that sled to make sure we're getting the movement we got. But we think we're going to get our center back. Our center's been hurt for the last 3 or 4 games. So we think we're going to get him back. So it's a good thing that now he's back into it. So now we got a little bit more of our starting offensive line back. We're getting one of our safeties back. So those things are starting to come. So we worked on individual, probably more important than anything else this week, to work on basic fundamentals and basic techniques.
So over the bye is more focused on self-reflection and healing, from a perspective of injuries, more
Mm-hmm.
so looking ahead at your next opponent, with extra advantage of um, whether it's film study or their strength or their weaknesses, etc.
For us, yes. Yeah, coaches, like I said, it's more about us getting better, uh, fundamentally, technique wise, and healthy wise. But we're still studying the film. Don't get me wrong. Now we still watch Tennessee Tech all week long. As coaches, we want to make sure we're on top of that. But for our players, it was more about technique and our basic stuff of what we need to do because we're going against everybody in our conference. Everybody in the Big South Conference is a formidable opponent. These guys are good. These guys play hard. Like I said, it's a small disparity when it comes to scholarships with us and other teams. And no, I don't like to talk about that because there's no reason you lose football games. I don't care what the situation is. You got to get on that field. You got to be competitive. So it's a situation where we continue to bust our behinds, and our guys understand the focus that we need doing this week to get our fundamentals where we need to be at, to get our mindset where we need to be at, and we continue to work on those things.
You don't like to talk about the disparity in scholarships, but I think when it comes to level of play, it still does play a part, because scholarships help you go out and get top tier talent, as such. I mean, of course, it's not to say if you don't receive a scholarship, you're not a top tier athlete,
Right, right.
but in essence, though, it does give you an advantage to at least bring in those that you often would not be able to engage with.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, that's the disparity between FCS teams and FBS teams, and a lot of people don't know that. When you go to a school like Ohio State, you go to a school like Miami, you go to a school like you're gonna get there's 85 scholarships that they're handing out, as opposed to where you went to school at Bowie State. I think there's 24
Right,
scholarships to school. So it's big disparity when it comes to things like that. So it's one of those situations. But the reason I don't like talking about it because it's a reason. It's not an excuse. And so
right.
that's how I look at it more. It's a reason, but you still got to get it done. You still got to make sure you're doing the things you're supposed to do. So that's why we're preparing our guys doing this bye week to make sure their mindset is right. It ain't just about the physical aspect of it, but it's also about the mental aspect because you talk about the next man up. We're losing guys because of injury, but the next guy's mind's got to be ready to get in the game and get ready to go. So those are the things that we concentrate on during the bye week.
So our wow of the week, our word of the week, again, is priority. For you as the head coach, what has been your priority necessarily for you from a perspective, whether it's self-reflection or, I know we talked about abroad things, whether it's the coaches meetings or,
Mm-hmm.
getting players healthy, but
Mm-hmm.
is there something that you as the head coach that you feel that maybe I need to prioritize this more now that I may not have during the season?
Our priority for myself was making sure our guys stay focused on what's important. And what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, make sure our guys understand what are you doing to help us win. If you're hurt, are you trying to get better to help us win? If you're a scout team guy, are you busting your behind on that field to help us win? So to me, my priority was trying to make sure everybody was doing what they needed to do to help us win. Because as a head coach, my job is to make sure everything's organized, make sure everything's put into place, make sure practice is running smoothly, making sure we're doing what we're supposed to do with the kickers, with the special teams, with the offense, with the defense. So my priority is make sure everybody's on the same page when we hit that field and make sure we're getting better with our fundamentals and techniques. So I asked the coaches to do certain things on defense. I asked the coach to do certain things on offense, and we got those things done. So my priority is make sure everything's organized and everything's in place so we put ourselves in position to win the few football games that we need to win.
Will the wow be the same this coming week, or will there be a different wow?
Oh, this is going to be a different wow. I just haven't figured out what it is yet because, as you know, and me and you talk about it all the time, they all kind of fall together. So it's
Yes.
situations where it may be Monday morning before it comes to me. It's like, wow, okay, this is where it's coming from because we start thinking about
Just like that. Wow.
it because even you said we've talked about being uncomfortable. We talked about being committed. We've talked about training. We talk all those things, all those words, all the wild week. They all come together
Right.
because they all have a reference to what's going on with us at the time. At one point the word was dismay. I didn't want our guys to get discouraged by what was going on, and that was a while ago. So we got to make sure we're staying on the same page. So I'm not sure what it's going to be, but I'm hoping it comes to him before Monday.
And as you said, our wows always are connected, with this being priority, our word of the week being priority, where we went from uncomfortable to diligent to
Mm,
trust to training to
yeah,
practice,
yeah.
and how integral they all play a part in the maturation, again, not just on the field of football, but off the field as well.
Absolutely, because it all goes back to my mission statement, to create an environment on and off the field, to continue what families have done and help these guys become better men, better husbands, and better fathers. And that's ultimately what it's all going to be about. And we're doing that through push and pull. We're going to push these guys in the right direction and pull them away from the wrong direction. So it's always going to try to stay together. I want to make sure the main thing is always the main thing. I know you hear a lot of people say that, but that's what I want guys to understand. The main thing is always going to be the main thing, and that's helping these guys grow into better men, husbands, and fathers, and that's what it boils down to.
The next game up is Tennessee Tech.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to jump the gun here. What is something that you're looking for from Monday's practice, in the regards to intensity and the attention to detail, and making and seeing that, okay, I could tell that this player has studied. What is the one thing that you're looking for? I know we talked about last week, fast start. Getting off to a fast start. What is that one thing that we're looking for this week against Tennessee Tech?
To not beat ourselves. I mean, got to make sure the things we went through this past week, while our priority being where it was, and make sure our mindset where it needs to be at. When we get here on Monday, we shouldn't have to go through all that again. Let's make sure we understand what the mission is in front of us. Let's make sure we're pushing ourselves towards the mission, and that's getting better, and that's winning the game come Saturday. The most important thing that I've talked about with some of the coaches is the fact that we got to make sure we maintain the tempo of the game. When I say start fast, that don't mean go fast. That just means making sure we're controlling the tempo of the game. Like I don't want the offense to go out there and try to go fast pace, and now the defense starts getting tired. So we're gonna slow some things down a little bit. We're gonna make sure our guys know what's going on and why it's going on. Because, like I said, we got some new players on the field. So we want to make sure when we're calling the plays, they understand why we're calling the plays. I've always told our coaches there are 4 things that everyone should think about before every play. What's the situation? What's the down the distance? What's the personnel? And what's the formation? Those are the 4 things you need to know every single play. And it'll make it difference the offense or your defense. So I want to make sure our guys understand those things. So coming back on Monday, we're going to get back to that. What's the situation? What's the down distance? What's the personnel? And what's the formation? Each guy must understand that on the offense and defense side of the ball, as well as on special teams. Why? Because special teams has been setting us back a little bit when it comes to field position. So I want to make sure everybody's focused on those things, and the main thing is the main thing.
And when we talk about field position, that's something else that we speak in length of in regards to, the situational football side of things, whether or not the offense is maintaining time of possession or first downs,
Mm-hmm.
or if the special teams punt unit is able to flip the
Mm-hmm.
field. Is the runners, the gunners able to get down and make a sound tackle?
Mm-hmm.
How much of that did you put a focus in? How much of that do you focus on in preparation during practice?
Huge. There's no doubt about it. The thing that's been hurting us really is the kickoff team. And like I told you before, the reason it's been hurting us because we got so many safeties hurt. So we don't have the guys. We got younger guys. Well, we got some receivers who are not used to tackling. So now I've been telling our kickers, hey guys, we need to work on sky kick. Let's work on sky kick, kicking that ball down to the 20 in the air to make them call a fair catch. We can get some guys down there fast enough. Or telling our kickers, hey, make sure this week, punt team, make sure we're working on our fundamentals, make sure we're blocking it up, because we got to make sure we're getting that height on that ball so those gunners can get down there, because, again, we got to pin them inside the 5. We got to pin them inside the 20 on kickoff. So we want to make sure we're putting ourselves in position to make those things happen. So it goes back to all those things become extremely important when it comes to special teams, and the kickers understand that. So we kind of gave them the week off a little bit so they can heal. One of our kickers had a hamstring, another one had an ankle. They didn't kick as much this week. We wanted them to focus on getting, again, healing, make sure they need to be at, because come next week, it's going to be extremely important for field position to be where it needs to be at.
Before we get off today, Coach, if you can just talk a little bit more in detail about your book, again, that is going to be posted and tagged in the subject line, in the body of the description line, how others can go ahead and download it.
Yeah, if you click my name, Bernard Clark Jr., you go to Amazon. It's on Amazon. It's called Ascension, a coach's guide to becoming a better man, husband, and father. A lot of people say a better husband, father. A better father than man. The reason I think a lot of guys say that because they think of that fatherhood is so prideful. So they say better man, father, then husband. It's actually better man, husband, then father, because that's how I look at it. Because, again, I don't have kids, so I'm trying to be the best husband that I possibly can. But I am a father figure, so it goes back to that. But, again, the book is about young men understanding how precious their bodies is, their bodies are. It's a book about young men understanding their body is a temple. And those are the things that they need to come and understand. And once they understand those things, they're not using it like a tool. They're not just trying to put it in anywhere it goes or any female they see. They're going to be selective about the women that they date and selective about the women that they have sex with. And that's what it's about. Once they understand how precious their bodies are, and once other men tell them how precious their bodies are, and once their moms start telling them how precious their bodies are and understanding those things, then they're not as likely to be out there sleeping with anybody that they want to sleep with and having a kid here, and all those other things. So that's the focus that I had. And again, it came from me when I gave my life to Christ in May of '96. I started practicing abstinence, which was extremely tough for me because up until that time, I didn't practice abstinence. So it was a change in my life, and it started triggering something in my mind. And I started hanging around young men that were virgins. I started being around young men. I'm like, man, how is he doing this? And you sit and you talk to him, and those young men are saying, Coach, I have the same temptations that you have. I just understand if I give it away, I'm never going to get it back. And so that mindset really drove me to want to write the book and help young men understand how precious their bodies are and how much of a temple that their bodies are.
Appreciate you so much, Coach. It's going down every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 9:30 a.m. Myself and Coach Bernard Clark Jr., head coach at Robert Morris University, through the eye of the tiger. Anything else? Let's go Bobby Moe, even though it's not a game day.
Let's go, Bobby Moore. It's not game day, but let's get it done. Let's go with these wings today, Pitts. How about that?
Hey, listen, I can partake in that. Again, man, we thank you guys very much. Your boy Pitts from Pitts and Push Sports Talk Radio, Pitt Sports Zone, Bowie TV coming to you live. Again, you can follow and catch the recaps of me and Coach's conversations every Tuesday and Thursday at 5:30 p.m. on Comcast, Channel 77, Verizon, Channel 11. Enjoy y'all Saturday. Be safe. Be blessed.